Hello, it's Dunstan. How you doing? It is a winter's evening in Tarifa. It's really windy outside here in southern Spain, but it is still pretty warm for Europe in winter. And I have a question for you today, and my question is this. What do you do in the time between Christmas and New Year, and how do you mark the transition from one year over to the next? So what do you do? And also my other question is, how has your year been in 2016? What have been the highlights? What have been the challenges? And what I want to share with you today is a really simple way to make a shift from looking at things that maybe didn't go how you wanted them to go, making a shift from being disappointed to creating something good from that situation. And it really is all about how you approach it with your mind, how you approach it with your heart. And first of all, I want to be really clear. This is not about saying, whatever happened, it's all okay. Whatever happens, never mind. Let's like go dance with the unicorns and everything's all great, everything's all fine, everything's happy. It's about being real. And it's also about sticking to what you want and using any life experience to help you to get to that thing that you want, to get what you want, okay? So I got a whole stack of examples I can share with you. And, one thing I'm seeing a lot on Facebook, on social media, is people saying 2016, wow, what a shit year, okay? Now, how you look back on your year is going to be setting up how you create your next year. So this time from Christmas, the next 12 days, it's traditionally the 7th of January or 6th or 7th of January when you're supposed to take down your Christmas decorations. What it's really about is that period of time is about setting up yourself, digesting the previous year and getting ready for the next year. Now, that's the meaning of it for me, and that's what that's why I'm sharing this with you now. So, if you look at something that happened, okay. So, say for example, one way you could look at it, you could say, okay, this year I had a pretty good year, but I was held back by other people cramping my style, okay? And so you want to frame that up, and you want to look at, well, what do I actually want next year? You could say, next year I'm going to make sure I don't let other people limit me and hold me back in having fun in my life. Sounds reasonable. However, it's all about the other person, and it's all about what you don't want. And besides, you probably know this, but resolutions generally don't work that well. Most people forget what their New Year's resolutions are. But what if you had an intention for next year in that area of relating? So what if your intention was to enjoy relating with other people more fully, with yourself and with other people? And what if, instead of making it about the other person, what if you came up with a really good question? So a good question here would be, why is it that I don't do what I really want to do when I'm around certain other people? Or why is it that I deviate from my plan A in order to please other people? So this is all about responsibility, 100% back into your own domain. And this is how you can go ahead and create. You can live. You can have the most amazing year of your life. that happened for me this year, and I'm offering an opportunity. It's like I want to talk about this, but this is in no way me selling anything, because this is about people who hear this and go, you know what, I really want to have the best year of my life in 2017, and I want to be surrounded by people who are doing the same thing. And it just starts with a choice to go, yes, I'm going to have the best year of my life. Part of a group of other people who are doing the same thing, not people who are being told what to do or anything like that, not people who need fixing, nothing like that. It's people who go, you know what, I'm going to be audacious, and I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to have the best year of my life. And then I'm going to start to get a bit clearer on what that means to me. If you're interested in that, just hit me up, drop me a line. It's a very small group. I did it myself last year. We're running a bit of a pilot this year, probably about 5, maybe 10 people in there. We're gonna have a blast. And yeah, if you're interested, drop me a line. It's going to close off sometime early in January. But anyway, in the meantime, I want to give you some more examples. Okay, so you might be able to hear that right now I've got a cold. So it's quite easy to be miserable when we've got some kind of health thing going on. So my question is, what is the benefit of me having a cold? What's the advantage of me having like a sniffly up nose, a sore throat? Like, how is that a good thing? Well, maybe it's meant I've spent more time just like these last couple of days chilling out. So right now I'm visioning for February and March, and it's meant I've just gone inside more. And that's where the alchemy happens. That's where the magic happens. Now, even if you don't believe in all that, what if, you know, it's good sometimes just to have some downtime and chill out and not do too much. Just allow the body to regenerate. And, you know, I know when I do that, I always come out the other side full of life, alive, and having let the shifts, whatever the shifts are inside me, go ahead. So that's a little example. So I'm just wrapping up and taking good care of myself. And there's really no problem. There's really nothing to be sad about. There's no need for anyone to be, oh, poor you've got a cold, because it's perfect. Life is always perfect. Life is always giving us exactly what we need. So here we are. I've got a few other examples for you right here. A nice little example, a real simple one, is say with acro yoga. So yesterday I was teaching a class, I'll call it Flying Leopard Acro Yoga, because I wear my leopard onesie sometimes. And I had someone flying on my feet, and it was her first time flying. And I took away one foot. She's like, ah, ouch, that's digging into my hips, which is true. And so we talked a bit about something we do in acro yoga, where you don't ever, well, you know, we learn to, instead of saying, this is what I don't want, to start to say, what I want is da da da, and please can you da da da. So it goes more like, what I want. So you know, the question is, what do you really want? In acro yoga, you're flying up in the air on someone else's feet. You've got one person on the ground with their feet in the air. You're flying, most of your weight's going through your hip bones, and it's digging in. But what you really want is you want to feel strong and confident and comfortable. So then you go, okay, what I want is to be comfortable. What is it that I need? What I need to be comfortable is for the person, the base on the bottom, to move their right foot up a little bit. Simple. So then instead of saying, ah, it hurts, we can say, please could you move your foot a bit higher, and left and right gets a bit confusing. So you kind of squeeze on, you know, if it's the foot on this side, on this side here, that I want to be moved up my body, I squeeze this hand and I'll say, please can you move this foot a bit higher up? And when you're a base, it feels totally different. Energetically, it's totally different when people ask what they want. So, you know, if you did a job and you say you did some work, you had a contract, or you had a client, or you're having some kind of relationship and you really didn't enjoy it, what you can then ask yourself is, well, what is it that I really do want? You see, so it's so simple and really powerful. So if you say you're a dude and you had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was always like saying to you, don't go and do sport, come and spend more time with me, and you didn't like that, and you so you know, you could say, well, I don't like needy women, I don't want to be with a needy woman, or a woman who stops me doing my sport. But then you look at it from this angle and you go, well, okay, but what is it you really do want? What is it you do want, not what you don't want? So you could then say, well, I want to relate with women, or I want to be with a woman who digs the fact that I love sport and who takes pleasure from the fact that I love doing my sport so much. So it's really simple. It's really using any so-called negative experience to actually get clear on what we do want. And we're always, whether we know it or not, we're always magnetizing and attracting situations which are either our dream situation in life, or they're teaching us something to help us to move towards what we want. But we have to be open to learning, to receive the gift, to unlock the treasure, to be able to get to what we really want. Otherwise we can go, oh, but I wanted to have a, you know, have a great relationship with somebody, or with someone, and I ended up with this shit relationship that didn't really work out. So there's always learning to be done. And this is what they call a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is less fun. Growth mindset is all about finding the opportunity. It's all about, what can I learn here? What did I learn? So if you're sitting there going, I had a shit year in 2016, what did you learn about yourself? It could be that you spent too much time focused on things that are being put in front of you by the media, which are really depressing. Okay, like I know people who are really upset about Brexit, and they may have their reasons, but you know, I don't know anyone who's definitely been affected in a tangible way by this stuff. But it's a story that it can spin out of all proportions. But you know, so what is it we really want? If we don't want to feel like alienated, we don't want to feel like we're the victims of people being discriminated against us because of coming from a different country to where we live or something, go out and have the intention to go out and connect with people from other cultures and meet people, and you know, meet someone who's from a different culture and connect. It's really simple. So I think you get it. I hope you get it. I want to hear your examples, and I'm going to finish with just one more of mine, which was quite a wild adventure that happened kite surfing. And it's a shame, it's next door. Hang on let me just take you next door. I want to show you this. Okay, I was kite surfing, and what happened was that with kite surfing, you've got a harness that clips you onto the chicken loop, which clips you onto the lines, which then connects you up to the kite. And so let me show you this. This is funny, what happened to me a couple of days ago. So here, kite surfing, we're kite surfing. I was kite surfing in a spot called Balneario, which is it's an offshore spot. Now that means that if something goes wrong, you don't get pushed. The wind doesn't push you back onto the shore. The wind pushes you out to sea. So it's kind of adds an extra element just there. Now, what happened was two things happened. First of all, this guy here, this is the spreader bar which goes across your hips, and this is where you hook in. So all of a sudden my kite just kind of like released. I looked down and I realized that this hook had the metal had just snapped off, just got metal fatigue and snapped off. So fortunately there's a safety device which I was still clipped on with. But the second thing that happened was I made a mistake. So it is kind of, normally you just hold onto the bar. Let me show you what the bar looks like. This is the bar and lines off the kite, and you have this thing on here called a chicken loop, which is supposed to clip into that hook. But of course, the chicken loop had been pulled off, and so, you know, the bar then will be like about a meter away plus a bit more. But I was able to grab a hold of it and kind of with one hand on, I was hanging on the chicken loop with one hand, which is normally where you're clipped in, flying the kite with the other hand, so riding unhooked, to try and get back into shore, back upwind a little bit. And I got almost where I could almost stand up, but I was running out of wind. I went to go back the other way, and I thought to myself, maybe I could just use the leash to clip myself in so I could just ride with both hands and get back up to shore, rather than dropping my kite down and having to pull it in through the waves. And the mistake I made was I clipped the leash back onto its own safety. So I went about 5 meters, and then this is like the final safety that you never have to use, which is if you have a real disaster and you want to let go of the whole kite and everything, you pull it. So that thing pulled itself off with the first bit of wind, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my kite and my line still attached, just flying through the air downwind. Now, I'm close enough to be able to swim back to shore pretty easily. I've got my board on my feet, and the waves will push me back in and help me a bit. But I'm looking at my kite and I'm thinking, oh shit, there's my kite. I can't let my kite go out to Morocco. So I let go of my board, and you know, here's a perfect example. I actually had no thought go through my mind of, oh shit, my kite's going away. It was just like a pure thing in me, instinct, straight away go, I'm going to swim and try and catch my kite. Now, I had no idea if it would be possible to catch up to the kite, because it's quite windy, and you know, the kite potentially can go as fast as the wind. As it happened, the kite was kind of drifting downwind, reasonably fast, but not too fast. And the lines were still attached. That was sort of dragging it back a little bit. And for those that don't know, I used to coach people swimming a lot. So that was my main thing in Australia for a time. So even though I'm in no way swim fit, I can still swim well. So I put my head down, just like sprinted about 100 meters. And then I looked up and I could see, I'm trying to figure out, did I get any closer to the kite? Because of course the whole time I'm getting further away from the shore. But then I realized I was gaining on the kite. So I don't know how far I swam. It was probably less than a kilometer, but probably about 500 meters or something. But of course, by this time I probably am about a kilometer out to sea. I won't go into the whole detail, but some other dude on a kite came over and said, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And then I wrapped up my lines, and then I proceeded to swim the kite back to shore, which was slow, but again, I was making progress. And a canoer came out to say, hey, you okay? Do you want a hand? And I said, you know what? I want to try and do it myself. Para confianza. For confidence, and to build my own trust in myself. So that was awesome fun. Really good. I mean, luckily my wetsuit was a thick wetsuit, so I was plenty warm enough. And then the other thing that happened was, unfortunately, someone called out the rescue boat. I can see why they did it, but that can be really expensive if they try and rescue you. So I was fortunate I got myself back onto land before those rescue guys, which is nice to know they're there. but you know, before, and so hopefully someone rang them and told them I was okay again. But so that was epic, and that was kind of like the real win in that situation. If I ask myself, what did I learn? What was the win? What was good about that whole situation? Well, what I learned was confidence in myself and trust, and knowing that I can sort myself out in that kind of situation, knowing that I can swim round into the wind shadow and swim upstream with the kite in that kind of strength of wind. And so, you know, this is how we learn and grow. If that's your kind of thing, you know, like physically, we learn and grow by pushing our limits. The same emotionally, the same in every area of life, in relationships. Like this is how we learn and grow. So I hope you enjoyed some of these examples. Like I say, I'd love to hear yours. And yeah, you know, if you want to have the best year of your life next year, what are you doing about it? And remember, it starts with a yes. It starts with saying, yes, I'm going to have the best year of my life in 2017. And then starting to figure out, well, what does that mean to me? What does that look like? What do I want? What do I not want? What do I want? And if you want to be part of that, if you want to find out more about what I'm offering, then drop me a line. There's no landing page. There's no web page. There's no stand up and go to the back of the room if you want to be. We've only got 5 spots. It's nothing like that. It's more of a club for awesome people who are going to create some and have a lot of fun in this year, and who want to share that with other people. So I'm going to sign off now. Have an amazing celebration at New Year. Enjoy all that you've achieved, all that you've done, all the adventures you've lived in your awesome year of 2016, and I'll see you on the other side. Hasta pronto. Ciao.